Well, what kind of impact does the international world have on our local community? Central Lakes College had national foreign policy expert Tom Hanson answer that question for students in Brainerd Monday night. As our Scott Sheehan tells us, his talk was about the world's impact on Minnesota and the United States.
Many students might not see the world outside their little bubbles, but a couple of local groups brought Tom Hanson to help the community expand their horizons.
The earlier the students get a sense of some of these issues and trends and where they can fit in, the better. Because then they can enter college or whatever profession they choose already with a little bit of an orientation on the real world that's awaiting them.
It's really refreshing to see a different perspective on how really the world works. And sometimes we go into our little, this is how we think it works, but this is how it really works. And Mr. Hanson answered a lot of questions, I think, tonight.
The program was aimed to help the students get a better understanding of the international world before joining the workforce.
You know, just to see the different political internationally, it's really interesting because, you know, from what I think China is, from what Mr. Hanson knows what China is completely different.
For our corporations now, as they look for people to hire, they like new hires who have some international experience. And that's important for students to know as they chart their course going forward.
Mr. Hanson's lecture allowed Brainerd a chance to learn what Great Decisions has to offer the community.
I think it was just a great introduction for our group. It was just a real good lead-in, very interesting speech tonight, I thought, and touched on some of the topics we'll be touching on. Just a great foreign policy kickoff event.
With Great Decisions, I get a connection to the larger world that I usually just don't have the opportunity to get here.
Talks about the world can benefit the community as well as the students.
When you live in a smaller community like this and you have a chance to go to something like this, I think everybody should come and find out a little bit more about what's going on in the world.
I'm excited about bringing this Great Decisions program into high schools as well. Colleges use it already, corporations, community groups, but I think the younger the better these days because the kids are ready for it.
I'm Scott Sheehan, Lakeland News.
Tom Hanson continued his World Today lecture today at Brainerd High School. He talked with 4 classes about the world's impact on Minnesota and the United States.
If you've enjoyed this segment of Lakeland News, please consider making a tax-deductible contribution to Lakeland Public Television.